Okay, my name's Paul. I'm going to explain the Switchback cBot for cTrader. I'll quickly go through the parameters with you. I'm going to make a lot of mistakes, so you have to bear with me really. So I'll start from the beginning. Regarding the smart grid strategy, you've got the first volume here. It works by retracement, so every time it goes back, like down here it's got pip steps. If it goes back, if it retraces 5 pips, if the trend is say long and it retraces 5 pips, it'll open up another long position. The first volume will be this volume here. So for France 120 it's 1. The volume exponent means what the exponential increase is on that volume. So every time it retraces back, say another 5 pips to 10 pips, it doubles. If this was set to 2, it will double the volume. If it retraced another 5 pips, it will double again to 4, and then 8, 16. You have got a volume limit here, so that you can specify it'll only ever go above 8. This stops it just keeping to double, the volume keeping to double, and all of a sudden you've got a massive trade position size. So this is a good way of preventing that from happening. You've got your include buy or include sell, so if you know the trade is say bullish for a long period of time, you can just turn off the sells and let this run on long. Copyright info, it just says that we've developed the application. Email address, and this is mainly used for when, in this case, if any position that you have open goes more than X pips. So here it has 50. So if a position is 50 pips in the red, it'll actually send you an email and tell you the position, the instrument, and it'll tell you to look at your charts. And then manually you can look at it and decide if you want to close the position or leave it running. It also tells you when trading commences. This is mostly because it doesn't just fire off trades every 5 minutes. What it does, it makes sure that both of these indicators here, the whole moving average and the stochastic RSI, they've all got to be on all of these time frames bullish or bearish. So it doesn't happen often. But when it does, you've got a better chance, a higher probability that the trend will go that way. And then you have I'll go down to trading hours. Then you have trading hours, which is pretty straightforward. People that you do trading hours, you can specify when you want to start trading in the morning and when you want to stop trading in the afternoon. So it'll only open up positions within those times. These last two close trades for the weekend, it actually allows you to close any outstanding positions before Friday close of the markets. So you don't have any positions running over the weekend. And you can specify the time you want to stop. So it will not only stop trading and opening new positions, it will actually close outstanding positions. And you can turn this on and off as you want. You can have them run into the weekend if you want. These are your multiple time frames. I'm trying to rush it a little bit because I know YouTube only allows me 15 minutes of video time. So the multiple time frames I've put down as 1 hour, 4 hour, 8 hour, 12 hours and daily. All of these, on both of these time frames, because they're all selected yes, have to be true before it opens a position. If you deselect all of those and just say have time frame 1. So only when the 1 hour stochastic RSI and the 1 hour whole moving average is bullish, open a position. But if I did that, you'll notice there's massive drawdowns and massive spikes. You don't get as many trades, the profit isn't as high, but it's lower risk. Smooth curve distance, I'll go through that later. That's very, very important. This actually reduces your drawdown massively. I think I've got an example somewhere I'll show you. So you can also include the simple moving average, the exponential moving average. You can specify the time frame for that and the period. Closing position logic. I don't use a stop loss on this strategy. It actually closes position when the signal 1 RSI, so signal 1 is set as 1 hour. When the stochastic RSI or the DiNapoli one is overbought or oversold, it will close a position. So if it's oversold, it will close your selling positions because it's going to buy. It's going to go change direction. And then you can add an additional RSI indicator time. You can change the time frame for closing positions. You've got two types of methods of closing positions, plus a stop loss if you want to add one in there. Max instances running. This is really because on here it's a 3.45% drawdown over this period with a 10% profit. 27 trades winning, 26 trades, 26 trades won, 1 lost. An instance is obviously the instrument. So if you have, I've had this running with 10 instruments at the same time. So you don't want if all of them were set at say 5% drawdown and 10 were running, that's 50% drawdown. So you want to, because these instances don't all run at the same time concurrently, you might only get 1 or 2 running at the same time because all the time frames have to be aligned. They all have to be the same. So this this occurs when it occurs, and then it stops. So this cycle doesn't always happen. So this is very useful. Include equity level. This means that it will stop trading if your balance drops below this equity level here. Max trades in red. It means if it keeps retracing, opening up positions, and they're in the red, it will stop when it gets to 3. If all of a sudden 2 positions go in profit, but one ends in the red, it'll open up another one. So it's stating that it won't allow you to have so many positions in the red. Max spread, that's self-explanatory. It just doesn't open up a position if the spread size is too large. You really, you don't want to be opening up if the spread's like 20 pips or something like that. Pause at news release. I would highly recommend going to the website and looking at the cTrader news release manager. This explains how it works. You load in the news files every Sunday, or you can do it monthly if you want, and it'll actually, on high impact news, pause trading on your robot a configurable amount of minutes before the news release, and it will recommence trading so many minutes after the news release. And you've also got the option to close the positions before the news release. And this is all automated. You don't have to do anything. So you could be at work and you know that if there's a high impact news, your positions will be managed. And you can actually control it from your robot as well. Include take profit target. These are all your profit targets now. So you've got take profit target, and you've got a partial close. So after 10 pips, it closes 50% of your volume. Then it allows the other 50% to continue to run and to get maximum profits. Remember, this doesn't work on backtesting. Partial take profits don't work on backtesting. Include reverse take profit target. If your position gets X amount of pips in profit and then retraces, it has to retrace a certain percentage before it closes all of the position. So this is quite useful. Include trailing stop. Straightforward. After 20 pips, it trails at 3 pips. Break even. So after 10 pips, you can have it break even, and then you can specify how many extra pips you want to add to that to cover commission charges and stuff like that. So I've just very quickly gone through the parameters because obviously the time limit that I've got. I'll go through the backtest results. So in this case, normally looking at around, and if you're aggressive in your trading style, you probably could go for a higher equity drawdown. But this is looking at around 10% with less than 5% drawdown. And that's on the France 120. So I've got a few examples here. Euro USD, and I wanted to explain on this one, difficulty with Forex is news releases. So this is where the news release manager comes in. You cannot backtest news releases. So there's going to be drawdowns when you do a backtest for this. But when you run it on forward test, it's a lot better because the news release, it doesn't get caught out on news releases. And is that every time if I click on one of these, if I get one, here's a news release. You can see where it drops down. There's a big drawdown. A news event has occurred. And again up here, I think, there's another news release. That's a classical 164 pips, went all the way up, then it came all the way back down again. If you have a big enough stop loss, or you can ride out the drawdown, then it's fine. If you avoid this news release completely, you don't get the drawdown. It doesn't matter. So again, you can see all this occurred here during this news release that occurred up there, and it just completely went wrong. So again, there's another news release on the bottom of this one. You can see there it went up 67, 68 pips. So Forex, you do need to lose the news release manager. It does make a big difference. And then I'm not sure which one I want to show you. I wanted to show you the. So on this one, this is where if you go and look at the DiNapoli stochastic with smooth curve check, it's the free one. It actually explains what the parameter does, the smooth curve distance. It actually explains it in more detail than me explaining it now. But it makes a big difference on your results. If I turn this off and I run this back test. So this is just running as if it's a normal DiNapoli stochastic RSI with no other additional logic. I think it's this one. There, I think it is, yeah. There you go. Massive drawdown. You could obviously avoid that by avoiding trading within those hours. But this value makes a big difference. So playing around with this value on your backtest results is one of the most useful parameters to use. Another useful parameter, I haven't configured all of it, to be honest. I just bolted it together because it's some of the most useful logic you'll have in a strategy. And for $49.99, it's pretty cheap for what you get. So you can change the time frames. Like there, if you look at the statistics for this, it's 5.74%, which is not bad, with a 17% profit, which is pretty good, and it's 52 trades win total, no losses at all. So it's a low drawdown and no losses. And this one I quickly configured this morning, to be honest. What did I wanted to show you? I wanted to show you the time frame. So if I change this time frame for 1 hour, I've not tested this, just to show if it makes any difference. I'll quickly check. So I've got 10 minutes, I've still got a bit longer to show you stuff. Sorry about this. %, 4% drawdown. 37 wins again. So the configuration I've done on this in the past is to keep the drawdown low as possible. You don't, it's not realistic to go for a 50% profit over a period of time. I think 10% is more realistic. The whole idea is not to lose your account. So the reason I'm not using this, or we're not using this, is mostly because this strategy takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of, what you do is each instrument you get, you've got to configure the parameters. You've then got to run the strategy I run it on a VPS, and then you've got to monitor it. So I don't believe in fully automating it. I think you should keep your eye on it and watch the positions. And obviously I would add an additional bit of logic if you can find a really good support and resistance software. Then that would be another addition, is to manually look at major support lines or major resistance lines. And then when it tells you it's trading, look at your trades, and if you feel that it's going into a massive, say, support line, do not open the trade that's going the wrong direction, really. So this again takes a lot of time to configure the parameters. I'll just see if there's anything else I can show you. I haven't run forward. So yeah, it'll do indices, Forex. With Forex, obviously, you need to monitor it. The news releases is the biggest issue. So on some of the back testing, so some of them they work very poorly on, some of them they work very good. So you'll have to go through all the instruments that cTrader or your broker supplies and actually find the ones that work the best, and then tweak it, and then move it across and forward test it. So I hope you enjoy this. I mean, it's definitely worthwhile installing the trial version and having a play around with the values. But again, for the price, I think the amount of logic and functionality you're getting is pretty good. Okay, thank you very much.